The President of the United States is the most powerful political office in the world. Given the unprecedented ability of the US to project its will both militarily and economically, the chief executive has extraordinary power. It's natural then, with Hollywood being within the United States, that there would be a rich history of on-screen presidents. And these depictions and portrayals go back as far as the medium itself. From actual presidents, such as the great Daniel Day-Lewis as Abraham Lincoln, or on the other end of the spectrum, the late Robin Williams as Theodore Roosevelt in Night at the Museum. And along with these, we have the fictional presidents, such as James Marshall in Air Force One, portrayed by Harrison Ford, or Merkin Muffley, portrayed by the great Peter Sellers in Dr. Strangelove. And these characters all run the gamut from serious straight shooters, so far as a member of the political class can be, to silly caricatures. And it got me thinking, who was the most compelling fictional president? And then that got me thinking, who was the most compelling comedic president? And the really funny thing is, those two were portrayed by father and son. Lloyd Bridges still stands the test of time as one of the most effortlessly funny people I have ever seen or heard on film. Along with the great Leslie Nielsen, it seems that he can just stand perfectly still, do nothing, and make you laugh. Perhaps this is why his turn as President Tug Benson in Hot Shots Part Deux still tickles me all these years later. Whereas the first Hot Shots was a parody of Top Gun, its sequel is a parody of Rambo 3. And we very soon learn that this movie is not playing around when we see Richard Crenna reprise his role from Rambo 3, but instead of playing Sam Troutman, he's now Colonel Denton Walters. Incidentally, has this ever actually happened before? An actor satirizing their own performance in a spoof?
You say your war is over.
Oh my.
Well, maybe the one out there is, but not the one inside you.
Slapstick is something that seems to have disappeared many moons ago. As a genre, it does tend to feel quite dated. But when it comes to a movie like this, or A Naked Gun,
Ed and I drove down to the docks where Nordberg had been found floating.
I just cannot help myself. I find them funny. And I even find them something of a relief. And the comedic and emotional highlight of this particular slapstick movie is President Tug Benson.
Sabotage. My God, man, what does it mean?
We have to tighten security, sir. Find out who's behind it.
No. The word sabotage. What's it mean?
We knew we were in for a good time when Tug manages to dispatch Presidents Ford, Nixon, Carter, Reagan, and Bush Sr., all with a shovel. And whether it's him using his ear as a pencil sharpener,
Career.
or having a sword fight with Saddam Hussein using fire pokers.
We meet at last.
We'll settle this the old Navy way. First guy to die loses.
Dude is as funny as it gets. Now, the key to President Tug is that Lloyd plays him completely straight. One of the hallmarks of great slapstick is that the characters don't tend to actually know that they're inside a comedy, and some people can do this to a T
Cookie.
because they just have a funny face, and Lloyd Bridges is absolutely one of those people.
President Benson.
No, you're not. Seen him on television. He's an older man, about my height.
Sir, this is Topper Harley.
Topper, yes, of course. Son I never had. Well, no damn wonder I didn't recognize you then, huh?
But to complement this comedic genius, we have a performance on the other end of the spectrum. And as for my favorite serious president...
That's a nasty bit of business what happened on that river. Nasty. It's a damn shame you were the unlucky bastard in that spot.
It doesn't get much better than Jeff Bridges' portrayal of Jackson Evans in The Contender. Now, this film is a fascinating political journey through a rare constitutional mechanism for replacing the vice president midway through a presidential term. Now, we are in for a treat because the great Gary Oldman portrays Congressman Shelley Runyon, the Republican chair of the House Judiciary Committee, which is charged with the confirmation of the vice presidential nominee, Senator Lane Hanson, portrayed by Joan Allen. This movie was written and directed by Rod Lurie, and whilst he does take some liberties with the constitutional process for the sake of the movie, dude clearly has a deep and nuanced understanding of US politics, and this is what really allows the film and Jeff Bridges to truly shine. President Evans is a Democrat, Congressman Runyon is a Republican, with Senator Hanson having formerly been a Republican, now being a Democrat. This gives room for a plethora of political nuance, exquisitely depicts the maneuverings, events, and straight-up politicking that happens during any confirmation process, let alone one for the vice president, and especially when the committee chair overseeing the confirmation is from a different party.
It's a perfect pedigree.
Ultimately, it's the complex and nuanced political world that Rod has created that gives the space for Jeff Bridges to fully realize Jackson Evans. Now, Jeff has described President Evans as somebody that really enjoys being president, and this does absolutely shine through in the film. Jackson is always taking full advantage of the White House chef.
You know what this is? That's a shark steak sandwich. Fucking shark steak. Could you whip up some kung pao chicken, but with walnuts?
No problem, sir.
Could you arrange some coq au vin with a side of penne?
Spicy or mild?
Spicy. And hazelnut pudding for dessert.
No problem, sir.
One day I'll catch him napping.
He takes full advantage of Nixon's bowling alley.
No.
And he generally just vibes as president. And he created a character that does legitimately feel like a president of the United States, and one with a unique political brand. He has a style, he has a way about him that feels very affable and very believable. He's totally at ease with himself in the job, but he still maintains absolute authority without trying, and this is key.
Glenda,
Yes, sir.
could we put together a grilled cheese sandwich? Munster on rye?
Right away.
Honestly, he kind of feels like the dude if the dude had had a private education and had gone to Harvard.
My briefcase.
Evans has the air of somebody very laid back and relaxed, but would not hesitate even for a second to kill you if it was the optimal political move. And it's this style and vibe of Jackson Evans that makes him one of the greatest on-screen presidents for me.
Yes, Glenda.
Sir, the kitchen's all out of Munster.
Really? Wow, well, let's get on that. We don't want the wheels coming off the wagon.
Doing a part like this well entails more than just portraying a person in a suit doing this job. You know, I could easily believe Jackson being popular. I can believe him being politically savvy. I mean, we see it. I can see him winning a swath of election campaigns and just being president of the United States. And that is an outstanding achievement on the part of Jeff Bridges. Now, there are two key moments in this film that serve as the dramatic and emotional peaks for the president and for Jeff. The first is when the news that Senator Hanson's relationship with her husband began whilst her husband was still married and committed to his then wife.
Fucking him.
That's
what he said.
We see Jackson lose control for the first time, thinking the nomination might be dead. With his awareness of the political box that Congressman Runyon is successfully cornering him into, is becoming overwhelming.
I'll die before Shelley Runyon checkmates me.
But, as is the case with great storytelling, this despair is setting up a wonderful turn, and ultimately, he's saved by an FBI agent that uncovers some damning criminality on the part of Governor Jack Hathaway, the man that Shelley Runyon wanted to get the VP nomination. So, in an ice-cold political execution, Jackson convinces Runyon that he's won, and that Hanson's nomination will be pulled.
Who can I be certain you'll confirm?
Man you wanted in the first place.
But only if the congressman publicly endorsed Hathaway beforehand.
I need you to marry yourself to this guy.
Runyon does this.
Runyon, have you heard about the possibility of Governor Hathaway returning to the list of vice presidential?
Well, Governor Hathaway is a fine man.
Do you think?
And then Jackson permits the FBI to go ahead and press charges, having got Runyon to tie himself to a criminal on the record.
What's that? Sir, you have the right to remain silent.
Fred,
This fatally undermines the congressman.
You set me up.
let's just say I'm guilty but not responsible.
And the implication at the end of the movie is that the nomination was now to sail through effortlessly, the political headwinds having been overcome. And it's this combination of a well-conceived and expertly crafted story, an outstanding antagonist portrayed by one of the absolute greatest actors to ever do it, all combined with a masterful embodiment and portrayal of a fascinating character in President Evans, is what makes this movie so compelling, and it's self-evidently why Jeff Bridges and Evans are at the top of this short list. Now, neither The Contender nor Hot Shots Part Deux are particularly deep films, with the latter being delightfully silly. They're not telling generational stories or critiquing the presidency in any meaningful or particularly interesting way. They're just two entertaining movies, and they feature two of the most compelling on-screen presidents that I have ever seen. Like father, like son. So, who was your favorite on-screen president? What was your favorite movie or TV show that featured the President of the United States? I have no doubt that many of you are going to have a completely different opinion to me about literally everything that I've said, so I would be delighted to hear about it down in the comments. And to everybody that's made it to the end of this video, thank you very, very much. I appreciate you. And if you did enjoy this video, please consider clicking like, and even maybe subscribe if you're interested in seeing more videos about cool, awesome stuff. Thank you very much. I hope you have a beautiful day, and I will see you next time.